Meeting comes to order at 6 o'clock. Roll call, please. Here. 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 Okay, I've got a few things on the agenda today, and we'll ask for those approval.
I move to approve the minutes from June 22. For the agenda, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I move to approve the agenda, I'm sorry.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda for tonight. All those in favor? 3-0. The approval of the minutes as June 22nd, 2021.
I move to approve the minutes of June 22nd as written.
And I second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of June 22nd as written. All those in favor? 3-0. All right, we have Riona Green, you here? Had a business license request. Not here. A miner's mowing business license. He was given a peddler's license, which allows him to do business. If he comes looking for mowing service, what I'm saying, am I right?
His business isn't located within the city limits, but he does mow in the city.
Okay. If he was looking for a business license, could he obtain one?
He could.
He'd come to City Hall.
The business license, the peddler's license is $1 a day. And typically, if they're going to be doing business for more than 10 days, we just go ahead and issue them a business license in place of that peddler's license.
Okay. All right, neither one are here, so we'll move on to new business, bills to pay and balances on hand. Everybody's had a chance to look at those. Is there any questions on any of those balances or the bills that need to be paid? Any questions at all? I've entertained a motion. There is none.
I move that we accept the bills to pay.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion, second to pay the bills, and accept the balances that are on hand. All those in favor? 3-0. All right, department head reports.
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
I noticed on the Parks and Rec, Joe wrote, the recycle center, new vendors are in full swing. What does that mean?
I think what he means, you correct me, somebody here, that he's added some trailers, am I
I
right?
think two trailers, one at Stella School. I think one at night.
Rock and P.
Wait, you don't need.
I see Neosho Pools and Spas, Rock and Pete, and Walt's Tractor, but I don't know what does that mean? Like,
He put trailers out there, recycle
For
trailers.
them to recycle.
oh, okay, so we're just putting extra trailers and that
Yeah.
gives them another location that's not necessarily locked up at night, they can kind of go in and
Right.
still put the recycle.
And pick
Good
up,
idea.
the southern part of Newton County.
Okay, gives it a little closer to.
Word vendor kind of threw me off a little bit to
I-
start
yeah.
with. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off, but that's awesome, that's great. I have one other question on the streets. Where are we at on the bathrooms for the park?
We turned in a bid on them, and that's,
So we do have a bid in hand?
We have a bid in hand, but it would be a part of Parks and Recreation to do the job. It missed, correct me if I'm wrong, it missed the
what, there was a bid, but it hadn't met with the TIF committee.
Right.
Yeah, I don't recall.
The real struggle that I have run into, possibly everybody else has, is basically getting contractors to move along. They're all running, at a snail's pace simply because of health problems. So, while they're on the job doing work, their bidding has been awful slow. Anyhow, that's where that is, Jamie. I can, get that number and get it to the council next time, so you at least see what it would take to put bathrooms in that building.
So we have a bid in hand, you're bringing to us to see,
Yes.
and then we do have the money on hand to do that, or we don't know?
It never has, no, that one didn't go through the TIF, it missed the TIF, and the TIF run out the end of May.
Right, I still see income coming from it though, why is that?
The income would continue to come in up through May, I think it's May 23rd. Well, we don't send the quarterly invoice to the county until after that quarter's closed. We don't get those reports until after the quarter. So, from April 1st to May, end of deadline, we would still cover those funds.
So that's why we have it coming in June. Okay, gotcha.
And we probably will still have some filter in July because those were funds that were recovered April through May.
Gotcha, okay.
My question, and I guess to those involved, is at what point are we completely, these dollars are completely unusable for City of Granby? Now, we had a certain amount that was earmarked for certain projects, and that was okay, but those that are not earmarked, I have I've got my feelers out to find out just what is to be done with those dollars that come in. But, that was after the end of May deadline. That's still wiggling, we're still figuring out what is to be done with this. As Lana said, there is dollars that are still out there floating around that maybe persons last year bill are paying now, things like that.
My interpretation of the statute, and it is strictly my interpretation, is that the deadline for the end of TIF was the May date, but it also states or until obligated funds are spent. And so anything that is obligated prior to May 23rd.
The ceiling in the gym, the steps out front, the stairs going up to the park, and those types of things, the lighting, are obligated, or they were under contract before that.
So we're just crunching the park numbers to
Yes.
decide whether we're gonna cover that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I kinda jumped to the painting of the lines.
He tells me he's waiting on paint. And I've heard that from a lot of other people that can't, we had trouble getting market paint just for our line locates and stuff. I don't know why, the COVID has anything to do with paint.
You
But
know,
I
I've
can't
heard
get
that same thing from the telephone company.
Yeah, I cannot get
They're
the yellow
waiting
paint,
on paint.
or the market paints.
Can't get parts for lawnmowers.
It's a unfortunate time because like literally this has been a 6-year project.
I've been on it, I mean, it's just, but he claims he cannot get the paint.
I guess as long as we just stay on it, I guess. Anyhow. Any other questions? Entertain a motion to accept the department head reports.
I move to accept the department head reports.
Motion is second to accept those reports. All those in favor? 3-0. Okay, we put out bids for, an auditor, and we received one back from, Decker and Good. And we reached out to a few more. I'm not sure completely why we didn't get at least one or two more in the time frame that we have had this out. The council is more than, can take this one if you want to, or, when does this need to be, put in by?
Typically we try to have the audits completed by the end of September, so the sooner the better, but I'm happy to submit more requests for bids.
Is the price that it was given, the $7,250, about $7,250 a year, is that, reasonable? I feel like that's a normal fee.
If the trail was here, we paid $22,000.
That's what I thought. So, council, we can either accept this, bid from, Decker into Good, or we can, try to get one or two more. There'll be a point which we do need to, get this finalized so we can put these people in, on the accounting.
If it's a fair bid and they're wanting to do it, I don't see any reason to go out.
They did ours last year, am I right?
Yes, and this was less than last year's. Last year, I believe was 86.
I think let them go with it. They proved their work.
They're looking at a 3-year contract, basically $7,250, $7,450, and $7,650. What am I missing here, Lon? Wouldn't this be June 20, 21, 22, and 23?
Well, it starts June of 20 or July 1st of 20,
Okay,
so,
that's the one they will do.
but I think you're correct, I think it doesn't go to July 1 of 20, July 1.
If we accept this as a bid, would you, we'll accept 3 years, would you just make the adjustments to the,
I have a question.
go ahead, Mark.
So, I'm looking at the video and adding to it, I haven't put it up yet. But I'll go ahead and say, and I think it should be done by state auditor. Just now, I was going ahead and looking at the example of the town of Purcell. What happens is that they wanted to have a state auditor come in, and it was refused, and their auditing company gave them a good bill of health. And then they found out some employee was just stealing them wine, so that audit company was about as useful as Arthur Anderson, auditing in wine. But then, sort of interesting is that now that they're going ahead and trying that, the state auditor is gonna go ahead and come in. They're having questions about the water and sewer system, and what they're gonna do is that, just like Granby, their people couldn't maintain a good water and sewer system, so they're going to go ahead and vote in August to go ahead and sell their water and sewer system for $200,000 to the Missouri American Water System. So pretty well that was, pretty well it looks like the same thing in smaller figures that pretty well happened to Purcell was pretty well taking place here in Granby. They didn't want to have state auditor come in. Somebody got caught stealing, is being prosecuted for it, and now the state auditor is gonna go ahead and do that. And yes, they're gonna go ahead, more than likely sell their sewer and water system to the Missouri American Water.
What's your point?
The point
Not our
is,
city.
the point is that, I would say that what's happened in Purcell is pretty well happening right now in Granby.
Well, you do understand that we are required to actually have an auditor of our own, not necessarily, like, a state auditor can always come in, but we are required to hire one, just like any other board.
Well, Purcell did too, and Purcell just said, no, everything's all wonderful, and then guess what, just like Arthur Anderson, which is no longer auditing because they got sued into oblivion for
The question in front of the council is, do you want to accept this bid by Decker into Good, or do you want to, try to find another bid? They are cheaper than they were before, so what's the council?
Who are the other companies that you sent out to already? 'Cause I know you,
CPA Group and then Taylor Green, who's done
They both
audits in
have
the
done
past.
audits here before.
and they just chose not to.
Well, they haven't been able to be our auditor in the recent past because they've been our accountants. We no longer use them as accountants, and so I had asked Nancy if she would be interested in that and sent over a request for a bid. And then I do know CPA Group had previously done ours, not Hopkins with CPA Group, but I guess everybody's busy.
So you've already reached out to several.
And that's pursuant to our procurement policy. We try to obtain bids that way.
I move we accept the bid of the only one that have placed the bid with us, and they've proven themselves to be good because we've used them before.
We got a motion,
I'll go ahead and second that.
we got a motion, a second, to use, Deckard the Good as, our, auditor. Those in favor? 3-0. All right. The East Newton Fire Protection District contract is one that, we've had a contract with the East Newton group for many years that I know of. They've been a tremendous group to be with, and been very proud to have them a part of Granby. We've made some adjustments to the contract that would allow for full-time chief, and at least provide the dollars there. We still got I think for chief, I think you give that to me, the job description. You gave the job description to me, or you put it in my tray? Carrie
Said
had
she
it.
put it in your tray,
Okay.
I guess.
So, somewhere between Carrie and my tray is, fire chief,
Description.
description.
Job description.
There's a chance this time next year that could appear.
We'll get that, though, but it's important that we have that. We'll have to, this will have to be a part of ordinance. But right now, we just wanna accept, if the council is in agreement, the contract with the district. And if you have any questions with that, well, I'll try to answer them, or the chief possibly. Most of it is the same. A little bit of language has changed. The district's obligations have changed considerably. City's obligations are basically the same. But I think, everybody involved here wants to see a full-time fire chief for many different reasons, all kinds of different good reasons. And so, if the council is in agreement.
My compliments to who negotiated this contract, because it's good in every respect and it's helping the city in lots of ways. And I move we accept the contract and go from here.
I've got a motion and a second to accept the contract with East Newton, Fire Protection District. All those in favor? 3-0. All right.
Resolution of the City of Granby, Missouri authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Granby and East Newton Fire Protection District. Whereas Ira Hawkins is duly elected mayor on April 6, 2021, and whereas the Board of Aldermen feel it is sound business practice to have a resolution granting authority to Mayor Ira Hawkins to sign this agreement on behalf of the City of Granby. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen in the City of Granby that Ira Hawkins as mayor is authorized to sign on behalf of the City of Granby an agreement between the City of Granby and East Newton Fire Protection District For services to consumer fire protection district from the city of Granby, Missouri. All other resolutions and contracts are
Entertain a motion to accept this bill or resolution.
So moved.
Got a motion, to accept this resolution.
Second.
I got a motion, second to accept this resolution. Do we need to read that again? Is that okay? All those in favor of the resolution, is that a roll call vote or is that a regular? All those in favor? 3-0.
No discussion.
All right. The last thing is basically a purchase of a small piece of property on, right next to the wastewater plant. The initial purchase price would be $27,000, which is a lot of money. We were allowed more than that to obtain this, to obtain property simply because of the necessity to put the catch basin in. I told somebody, I said, the last acre of ground in the world will be a lot higher than the first acre of ground in the world, simply because there is no more left. But that was, it's right next door to the plant and very needed to the project. So this contract basically enters into this lease agreement enters into an agreement with this seller that $1,000 earnest money will go forth, and upon as long as the property is what we can use it for, and there's no problems or anything like that, then she'll receive the rest of the money for that. But this allows the agreement to go on, and this is a resolution. Any questions on that? I know there is some confusion sometimes on that. The people that are helping us with the money is allotted a larger amount for this because of its necessity. And so we have a good opportunity. We negotiated, even though $27,000 is a good amount, it was less than what was allotted, quite a bit less than what was allotted because of the need. Any questions?
So if it's not purchased, no $3.2 million expansion, correct?
That is not necessarily true. It would just prolong things from going
It
on.
would just cost more.
My understanding
right.
was that the property that we have, isn't fit for the basin, correct, Victor?
It's in a floodplain.
It's in a floodplain, so therefore, in order to put the basin in that area, you would have to really build it up.
Build it up.
And it would cost close to that amount.
No, they said it didn't matter if we built it up, they still wouldn't allow it to go in.
Would not be allowed at all.
Still, even if we built up concrete retaining wall, would not allow it at all.
So
So
basically.
that's why that's why we had no choice to move elsewhere.
Right, and then we look at the lady here that's, willing to sell her property and allow us to put a poop lagoon on it.
It's not a poop lagoon. You should use proper terminology.
Okay, let's do it.
Storm retention
It's
basin.
storm retention basin.
Yes.
It doesn't have the little creatures in it that eats the
No,
stuff?
no, it'll be empty most of the time. The only time anything would go to it is during a storm or heavy rain event. It'll get pumped to that, and then as the rain resides, then we can trickle that through this treatment plant and be treated. So it won't be full all the time.
Okay, so it's just catching rainwater then? Is that
Not
correct?
rainwater, no, because
No.
it's not runoff. It's just what's leaking into the sewer line. So it is combined sewage and the water that's infiltrating into the sewer lines. So it's not just water or just not sewage.
Okay.
It's a combination. But our sewers are strictly sewer lines. They're not a dual storm water catch type lines.
Okay.
But
There
yes.
was I think, a clarification when we first started this project, that when we took on the expansion of the sewer plant, that, fixing the lines and any hole or anything that would allow water in was a part of that fix.
It's still part of the project.
In that, in the dollars set aside for this project, were also dollars that were set aside for, searching through the lines to make sure there
Yes.
is no holes and things of that nature. In order to.
Yes, and then that would just be a continual upkeep.
Process.
Process, yes.
What they told me was it was something that was very hard to completely 100% do away with, but you should work on it all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, when the sewer lines were first put in, and even after it was brand new, we had water getting into them right after it was brand new. We can look back at the flow records and you can see, you think, well, it's all brand new. Well, a lot of those sewer lines were put in during real heavy rain conditions, and, joints could have rolled, gaskets in the joints, could have been some bad construction, we don't know.
One of the main reasons why I entered into this process with the wastewater remodel was the EPA was concerned that Granby was bypassing their plant way too much.
Yes.
And so their idea was you need to take care of that immediately.
Yes.
And infiltrating water
Yes.
immediately. Doesn't
Come
leave
on,
you a
yeah.
lot of room, one way or the other.
Yep.
And so this was a thought that I introduced to the public, and I think this worked fine. Also give us room for any expansion that the city would have, future expansion. I don't think the city of Granby is going to regress in their size. I think they will expand. So this gives us a comfortable ability to expand.
Yeah, because the EPA, they said, you're gonna quit bypassing or overflowing your manholes or the lift station. When it rains real heavy, those pumps can't keep up. You've had an instance years ago where it flooded a house down there. I don't know if that was attributed to a rain event or not, but that was, we don't want those type of things happening.
Done it twice.
So it's done it twice,
What are we actively doing right now to stop that infiltration? Like,
Well, nothing right now, other than just making sure our lift stations are up and running at their peak. Those are the areas we've been working on now. When I took over 5 years ago, all these lift stations were down to either one pump or barely working. They were just in horrible shape, but right now they're in really good shape. They're all working. We're not having breakdowns at them where they would overflow or cause backups. So that's where we spend a lot of our
Oh, we
money.
sealed up 10 manholes?
And we've sealed up several manholes. I can't remember the exact numbers. Those are easier fixes. This summer, we're planning on.
Some of the fix, which basically we're going to work on in the near future.
Yes.
Is some of the real, I think it's the smoke detection, am I right?
And the television, televising some of that.
Some of that equipment's coming in this new.
Yes.
Remodel proposal.
Yes.
It makes it a little bit better on finding these. We find a place where there is inflow, then we can go about fixing it. And this isn't easy fixes.
No, you've got
How
sewer
deep
lines
is
that
a
are
sewer?
20 feet deep in some areas.
And so
Middle of
it's
the road.
nothing we're giving up on, but it's, right now you're losing a man, am I right?
Correct, yep,
And so you're down to by yourself.
yes.
Jim's losing a man. He's gonna be down there with a limited crew. So, to answer the question, Jamie, is yes, there is a plan for dealing with personnel and equipment like anybody else is. So, it's on our priority list, and we're trying to get things rolling. always, my door's always open if you come up with an idea that would work better, but you can't do that by yourself. There has to be, years and years ago, when this probably should have been addressed, there was no money allotted for anything that had to do with the infiltration. So we're working hard at it, and this council's been tremendous on getting this going. And so this right here is basically just to provide property for the basin to be built on.
Correct.
You bought a smoker and a sewer, you know, a camera to go in
The
and
camera,
fix leaks.
the camera
Years
doesn't,
ago.
the camera will not go up the sewer line. It was designed for residential purposes.
Okay,
So
how about the
it's-
smoker?
The smoker, yes, there is a smoker.
Never was used,
It was never used.
okay?
Yeah.
And, but then again, you raised the sewer rates, but the smoker was never used.
Well, some of the prior administration wouldn't allow it to be used, but it will be used.
And now you go ahead and pay 3.2 million. Okay.
Back to the contract at hand, basically, is they enter into a contract with this property owner, to secure a piece of property to build a basin on. Council, any other questions on that? That's what this agreement is for.
And I will tell you that price was no easy task.
And there was more money available for it.
Yes.
But you have to look at what you, kind of the pros and cons of what you have, what you give up, and an amount of money that makes that, pliable.
We had one other property that we approached and could not get bought. They were not interested in selling it. And I looked at this one and we done a bunch of study on it. Me and Victor walked it and Gene. Turns out it was a better piece of property, which is, we're buying it for quite a bit less than what was allotted. Plus it's gonna save us quite a bit of dirt work money instead of having to go up the hill. So the engineers said all in all, it's a better, all the way around a better piece, better site.
But at the end of the day, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, this is gonna have a berm, and it's gonna have some plantings and stuff that, adult plantings that kind of just make this
Yeah.
disappear, shield it in this agreement.
Yes.
Well, 3 hours ago, Jamie didn't even know who you were selling it to. I mean, how
I
come you?
actually knew who we were selling it to. I just needed to know if it was out into the public or not. That's why the question was asked when you approached me.
Okay, well, the question is that why this contract took a long draft? How come you didn't release it till sometime yesterday?
I'm interested in the council's approval of this or any other questions on this.
Not interested in answering the questions. Could you go ahead and table it, so that it can be looked at until the next meeting?
But we're still waiting on that.
No, it's not a hidden secret that when this first come up, I was against it. I was against the new sewer program. Victor knows that, I've talked about it. This thing won at the ballot box 3-1 ratio. The people in Granby won it. Then I start doing research on it. And really, truly, this is the first step of getting a new water system. And that's what we need. Without the sewer being up and running and going, we can't get a new water system. And that's our goal. We gotta do that too. I'm 100% in favor of it. The people need it. We want it. I move. We proceed with the contract and buy the property.
Got a motion on the floor.
Second.
I've got a motion, a second on the floor to enter into an agreement with this property owner on this purchase. Those in favor? 2. Those opposed? 1. Also, water system is right on the cusp. We wanted to get, a little farther along on this sewer project, and COVID has basically been hard on us on this project. Nobody in the government has wanted to do anything. But anyhow, it's moving at at least a nominal pace. Cause I'm anxious to get started on, a study, if we need one, on our water system for the city of Granby, what would be acceptable. We had a water system done, test done one before, is that, do they become outdated?
Yes.
So, who did that last one?
I believe Olson and Associates.
Was it Olson?
Uh,
So there'll be a point in which we put this study out for bid. And then from that point, basically, they would, meet with us, find out where Granby wants to, what direction they want to go, what things they wanna be in, with supply water to the fire hydrants, and make sure the fire hydrants are up and in good shape, and necessary towers, if there be wells drilled, whatever the need for Granby is. But we'll have to, council, we'll have to show whoever's doing this study what projected growth could be and what it could look like, because they will be interested in asking lots of questions. And a part of it is getting the old lines up and something that's more new in the ground that'll last a while.
The latest
All right.
Wikipedia entry for Granby's population says that Granby is suffering a 3% decrease.
I'll be interested in this is all I have, I'll be interested in
We need a resolution.
pardon me?
I need to read the resolution.
Oh, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
A resolution of the city of Granby, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement between the city of Granby and Deanna Joyce Patterson to purchase property on behalf of the city for the purpose of a wastewater retention basin. Whereas Ira Hawkins is duly elected mayor on April 6, 2021, and whereas the Board of Aldermen feel it is sound business practice to have a resolution granting authority to Mayor Ira Hawkins to sign this agreement on behalf of the city of Granby. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the city of Granby that Ira Hawkins, as mayor, is authorized to sign on behalf of the city of Granby a real estate contract signed between the city of Granby and Deanna Joyce Patterson for the purpose of real estate for the city of Granby, Missouri. All other resolutions in conflict herewith are hereby repealed.
Interested in a motion to approve?
I move to approve the resolution.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to approve, all those in favor? 2, opposed, 1. All right. I do appreciate the council in their endeavors to think ahead into the future and what's best for town. Not every council member does that.
Ira, is there anything on our lease agreement?
I haven't seen that. Lana, did you pull the lease agreement from the Economic Development Group?
I do have that, I apologize, I thought that, my office was gonna contact you, and let you know that was available, so I will get that to you first thing in the morning.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right, anything else? Entertain a motion to be dismissed.
I make a motion to dismiss.
Got a motion and second to be dismissed. We dismiss at, 6:40? 6:40. We
Get a
just
motion
vote.
in a second, we just need to vote.
All in favor?
All in favor? Okay. Keep me straight here.